Good afternoon, everyone, respected sir and my dear friends. Today, my topic is based on Against Society, Women's Language, Body and Madness in White Saragasso and Sula by Toni Morrison. This is my information. Table of content, brief summary of White Saragasso, brief summary of Sula, difference between both the character, Antoinette and Sula, and conclusion. I will start with a brief summary of White Saragasso. White Saragasso is written by Jane Ayers. Antonio Mason is and Jane Ayers as Bertha in Jane Eyre. She is an West Indian and who marries an unnamed in Jamaica. Antonia is mad and frequently violent. Her husband confines her to an attic to his house at Tonford, and only he and Grace Poole. Grace Poole is a caretaker of Antoinette, and the action of the novel takes place in West Indies. This is the brief summary of Sula. Sula is written by Toni Morrison. It is the story of two black women friends and their community of Middleton in Ohio. These are the characters. Sula Peace is the main character. Eva Peace is the grandmother of Sula Peace. Boy Peace is the husband of Eva Peace who has left her. Hannah Peace is a mother of Sula. Ralph is son of Eva. Helen Wright, Neil Wright are mother. Neil's mother is Helen. Cedric is a soldier. Jude Greene is a husband of Neil, and Little Chicken is a boy who they met at the riverside. Now I will start with the Antoinette, woman's language in White Saragossa. Woman's language, both madness, also explains silence, mad, evil, and women's in White Saragossa. It is referred by Helen in a history of women's writing in White Saragossa, expose the marginalized condition of women within the patriarchal issues such as colonialism, race, political oppression, and mental illness. Uh, in this story, Antoinette is very much harassed by her husband. She is a patriarchal society based on male dominant. So she is always under her husband. What he tells, she does. Uh, in childhood also, her mother Antoinette leaves her because he mostly spent his time with his son Perry and her childhood difficulties, and she didn't have support from her childhood from her parents. So Jane Eyre's using Antoinette husband represent the patriarchal society causes of woman silence. In this story, Jane Eyre use Antoinette husband as a patriarchal society. In this also the main phallus is a center. It shows the muscularity of the male. The rest of the world, which I define as other, as only the meaning of relation to me as a father, mother, professor, or father. This is said by Phelan in the article. This phallus occurs physical differentiation, especially women feel incomplete and broken. Rogers uses his power and causes. Rogers, the husband of Antoinette, is using Antoinette. He has not married Antoinette for love, but he has married Antoinette for the money. Here, the patriarchal and his patriarchal uses his own language in the world. Language has very crucial power in this. Lacan has said the point out of role of language and importance of mirror stage. Lacan mentions the role of male in society. In this context, Lacan indicates the Rogers and phallocentric world. Antonio accepts what her husband said, what he husband says, he does that. Antonio tries to fit in the society of Rogers' language and meanings. Antonia is a girl in which whatever his husband tells, he does that. Rochester is a signifier of Antonia's life. Now I will discuss about the Sula and woman's language in Sula. Sula is a very independent girl in the novel. She is against. Is not using her what her society tells. She is against it. Sula tells is a different black woman in a bottom, which is located in Ohio, America. Neil is a friend of Sula. She is very traditional and she believes in patriarchal and traditional society, while Sula doesn't believe in patriarchal society. Morrison creates a character that uses her language, her and body against the society through the character of Sula in the novel Sula. Uh, Sula managed to sharp her discourse in society. Sula forms her idea by herself and she also has used her language. She stands as a root role in the patriarchal society. Sula thinks that her identity is equal to the male in the society. Helen Noxious puts forward the power of woman's oral drive, anal drive, vocal drive. All these are our strengths, and among them in the gestation drive, just like a desire to write, a desire to leave self from within, a desire of swollen belly for a language for body. Sula represents a woman body. She knows her strength and uses her strength for future. For woman future, woman should realize their power. She doesn't have to rely on somebody. What the male character says she is always independent by herself and freedom she has for herself. Now madness in Sula and madness in White Saragossa. Antonia represent this woman that she is a patriarchal and whatever her husband says she does that. The power is in the hand of the male character. Sula is also having a patriarchal society, but she is against it, and she's an independent girl in that. For taking control, she betrays his wife. Antonia is here, them on the and for that, Antonia is a mad woman who tries to poison him. I think his medicine represent the woman's power instead of madness in Rochester over the power she wants to take care. When Sula Antonio goes to the his maid Christianophile, she asks her to give some things that her husband attracts to her towards her. But Rochester come to know about this that she is trying to poison me and she bites her husband in her arms. So now the character of Sula. Sula desires to create her own identity, her own independence. She threatens conventional male society and traditional rules accepted in bottom. She doesn't want any more admiring who she is. Sula is a very free, independent girl. She is also living in that patriarchal society, but she is very independent by her own self. She steals male identity while in the act of leaving them pleasure. Sula steals Jude identity, and Jude is the husband of Neil. And when she returns back to bottom, she is in love with Neil's husband Jude, and she. This shows the weakness of male society. Actually, Shula struggles for survival are accepted as a madness and insanity because of the aim of this struggle is to change traditional society role and rules. Neil's behavior and community values supported Sula's madness. Ironically, Antoinette, supported by community like Sula, but Antonia couldn't express. Antonia couldn't express her feeling. Why Sula was very much free, independent. She shows her thoughts and feelings. She was not under the control, while Antonia was under the control. Sula takes her and Antonia's revenge against the society. Conclusion. Toni Morrison's character Sula, using her independence, language, and even her body, could struggle with her society and rules of his society. Like Lilith, she becomes the voice of woman in her society. She apologizes man in her society. The cause of woman madness was created by pressure, strict rules, male power, religion, patriarchal society. Jane Eyre character Antoinette couldn't struggle with strict rules. Her husband Antoinette and Sula, both the characters are very opposed. Antonia was she was highly believing in patriarchal society, was a traditional woman, and Sula was not a traditional girl. She didn't believe in the patriarchal society. These are my resources, and thank you.
So, Amina, my question is, do you find any similarity between the writing style of Jane Rice and Toni Morrison?
Rights and Toni Morrison. Gen rights write on the patriarchal society of female that they are male dominant and female are under the pressure of what their husband tells and is based on the racism. And while in the Sula, it shows the free independent girl. Both have a different independent and dependent.
Amina, my question is, can you see the patriarchal way of looking at the white surrogacy and Sula?
Yes, in the in white surrogacy, is showing the patriarchal society, male dominant society. Antoinette is under the pressure, and her husband also marries her because of money, not for the love. And while in Sula, she is a very free, independent girl. She she is not showing her weakness, but when she returns back to bottom, she's in love with the husband of Neil. That shows that weakness of the male in the society.